Welcome back, everyone, to the weekly Armchair Sports Talk podcast. This is your United podcast. This is Devil's Advocate. And I've been looking to get this man on the podcast with the last year and a half. And finally, he's accepted my invitation. Mr. Brian Murphy from Stretty News, best known as DayTripping Red on Twitter, and obviously chairman of the Manchester United Sports Club in West Limerick in Ireland as well. Brian, first of all, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on. How are you?
Good, Keane. Thanks a million for having me on. Nice to be here.
Good stuff. And obviously, you're only just back from Seville. You're literally only back from the win in the Europa League, 1-0 win. But first of all, I suppose we get crack into it straight away. 1-0 win against Seville, obviously 6-1 on aggregate. Through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. What was your thoughts on your experience in Seville? Obviously, we've been playing many Spanish teams. You've been over and back to Spain all season. What are your thoughts just on the trip, and also just like the performance of the lads, considering obviously we were 3 goals up, but it was like I think in many United fans' eyes it was a professional performance.
Yeah, it was relatively a dead rubber game unless we conceded quite early in the game and gave them a bit of hope. 59,000 seater stadium, lovely stadium actually, in fairness. The only fear you had going into the game is they scored in the first 10-15 minutes, got their crowd behind them and it was bouncing, but I think we dealt with it quite well. Yeah, they didn't put up much of a fight on the night, to be fair. I thought they were poor. I thought Harry Maguire, funnily enough, had a great game. Thought he was very solid at the back, even solid coming out with the ball. I know he has his detractors and he has his haters, but yeah, I thought he was fairly good. Yeah, I was quite impressed with Pelestri on the wing. Thought he put in a great shift. Overall, a pretty good performance. Yeah, Rashford was disappointed when he's finishing. Well, he is 1 minute, next minute he sticks an absolute screamer bottom corner. Whether he meant that or not, I don't know. But yeah, good all round performance. A couple of disappointing performances player wise, couple of standouts, but did the business, got it over the line, and move on to the next one.
Yeah, you mentioned Harry Maguire. I thought for me it was like, especially aerially, he done very well. He won more. I didn't look at the stats, but from the eye, it looked like he won every single header that he competed for in the air. I thought, look, we all know his deficiencies when he plays in the high line. He might get caught in the break, but I think, like, look, he was good in the ball. He stepped out very well, and like, look, I think in this type of game, in that atmosphere, considering he hasn't played that much this season, I think he's only had like a handful of games really. Like he done quite well, and like, look, in a European game like that, where if you concede early, like you said, it could have been a sticky situation. I thought he dealt with it quite well, and he was quite assured at the back. You mentioned Facundo Pelestri, Brian. Obviously, there's a lot of people touting him to kind of come in and to the team. Obviously, like, look, he's a very young player, and he's very inexperienced for like the top level of European football. But do you think he dealt with the occasion well, considering obviously it's the last 16 European tie, and like he's played next to no football for United since he signed for the club?
Yeah, I actually thought he put in quite a mature performance on the night. I thought he was a great outball for us. Decent outlet when we were under pressure. He seemed to be the one to take the ball out and give us a bit of a break for a minute. But his decision making was fairly good. He looks. It's very hard to rate a player after some little minutes on the field, but he looks like a good player. Yeah, looks like he put in a good shift. He came on there as a sub the other day and put in a great shift as well. So exciting to see what happens with him. I think he's probably going to go on loan unless between here and the end of the season he plays a more important part in the game. But I think send him out on loan for a season to somewhere, see how he gets on, bring him back. But is it harsh to say that he's shown more than the likes of Anthony Elanga has been shown? A player who we thought might be coming through. Like, I mean, I can remember leaving another Spanish stadium again. Not that we're too commonly known with Spanish stadiums, but I remember leaving Atletico last year after he scored, and that song was ringing out through the stands, and everyone was thinking, yeah, this guy could be the business. And he went off in pre-season. There was photos posted of him in the gym, and he looked like a fucking bodybuilder for all the world. He was after getting ripped. Yeah. And looked like he was putting in a serious pre-season to have a good attack at the next year, but he's just faded out into nothing. So he's probably one I could see leaving the club in the summer, potentially permanently, definitely on loan. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with Anthony Elanga, like it's strange when we were actually talking backstage about him. And I think one thing we can both agree on. I think he was overly exposed in that Rangnick team last season. Like, I suppose you hit the nail on the head before we went live, is that we needed to shine a light last season when like none of our players were pressing, none of our players were running or anything like that, like in the second half of last season. And he was one of them kind of players who, in suppose in adversity, he worked hard, and he actually played for the badge when a lot of players didn't last year. And I think that's why a lot of us took them. And look, I think it's a tough one with him, because I think, like, if you look from a technical standpoint, when you compare him and Pellistri, I think Pellistri would be kind of a more technically gifted player, low center of gravity, good ball carrier. But again, with Elanga, like, I think you look at the Liverpool game this season at home at Old Trafford, like, you can see there's games where he could definitely do a job for us, playing against a high line, getting in behind, making them runs. I think he's good in that respect. But I don't think a loan move would actually do him any harm. Like, you look at Amad Diallo out on loan right now at Sunderland, he's playing very well out there. Hannibal Medbury's gone to the Championship as well this year, and he's played well. So, like, I think the loan market can definitely be utilised for Anthony Elanga. And like, you look at the other players who are out there at the moment, Charlie Savage out on loan, he's doing well. So when I look at how we've loaned out our younger players in the last kind of 18 months, I definitely think Anthony Elanga can benefit from it, considering he's had his taste of first team football, but also, he probably needs that extra bit of attention to detail in terms of coaching.
I like our loans. Charlie McNeil, I think, scored. Was it today? Charlie McNeil scored his first goal in senior football. Like, sending players like that in Charlie Savage down to lower leagues where they're going to get the shit kicked out of them, that makes a fella mature and grow up a bit as a footballer. I mean, if you're out there playing against lads who are going to boot you around the field constantly, that gives you a quick lesson in life where you come up to the first team again, if they can make the step up, obviously. Come back up to the first team a bit tougher than what they left. I don't know if Elanga can make it. I mean, there's shades of like Januzaj back in that day, although Januzaj was probably a far better player, but similar again, we were looking for someone to cling on to give us something to cheer about, because things weren't going so great. And under Rangnick, things were absolutely fucking horrendous. Yeah. Elanga was someone you were thinking, Jesus, maybe this lad could be the next big thing on the wing or something. But I don't know, he strikes me as a bit one-dimensional. He gets the ball, head down, sprints, goes at players, loses the ball quite a lot, and his in ball or his in product is a bit lacking. Touch of Dan James about him in that sense, I suppose. But I think Pellistri, I think you're right in what you say. Pellistri's low centre of gravity and the style of dribbling and the style of football that he seems to like to play, I like it. I like what he looks to offer so far. Looks like he's got a bit more about him. Yeah, a bit more of a brain about him too, football wise. Yeah. Like, his decision making, I was very impressed with him last night. I thought his decision making was good. I thought he offered himself in positions. He didn't go hiding. He offered himself in positions to be the outball. He's one to watch for the future, but I don't think a loan move would do him any harm. I mean, even look at Chelsea. They've used the loan market tremendously well in the last decade or 15 years. They've had probably more on loan than they've had in their first team squad. So it's a market that can be used. It can be used very well. It can be used to raise funds for the club if needs be. Send players out on loan, get them in the shop window. If they don't turn out any good, get your 10, 15 million from, or 5 or 8 million, whatever you're going to get from, flog them off and move on. But just keep bringing that bit of income in all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Look, you mentioned Chelsea. Like, yeah, they've loaned out a lot of players. Like, you even look at their most recent Champions League winning team. There's a lot of players from that youth system actually in that squad. Mason Mount, Reece James, the world. So they can definitely be utilised, and it can definitely help United going forward. Especially the fact, like, if you look at, let's say, the right and left midfield right now, we have a lot of players in them positions. Like, if you look at the right hand side, we've Anthony, Jadon Sancho, Pellistri, Amad Diallo. It's 4 players, 4 very good players. And, then on the left, you have like Rashford, Anthony Elanga, similarly, Martial's off in the summer. We all know that. But like, Jadon Sancho can also play there. We've plenty of players who can play there. So I think Elanga probably could get, like, if he doesn't get loaned out, could actually end up getting lost in the shuffle almost. And he's almost too old then to play kind of youth team football. So you're kind of stuck at a point where you probably need to loan him out to see if he can maybe cope with, let's say, even lower tier. Even I wouldn't mind seeing going down to, like, say at the moment, let's say Southampton stay up at like at the moment they're they could get relegated, but I think they'll stay up. But let's say if Southampton stay up, they actually have a very good young squad at the minute. Like, they could probably that could be a good space for him. I was going to say Brighton, but the way Brighton are playing at the minute, I don't think Anthony Elanga would probably get a sniff there at the moment. But like, there's somewhere like that where you can maybe develop, or even like, look, if Carrick gets up at Middlesbrough next season, that could be something we could maybe look at. But it's something that I think he definitely needs a loan just to see how he matures. And then look, if he doesn't develop, then like as you said, we can sell him. And also even before like new ownership and that comes in, that could help with FFP and stuff. Does help us obviously spend more money as well. So it will be handy. It's going to come to a couple of people who dropped in a couple of comments. Jack O'Connor says, "Story boys up the Irish Reds." Absolutely. And Julio also says, "Championship is quite a difficult league in itself if a lone player can make it there. So it's a good sign." Yeah, like look, it's two players I pointed out previously, like Amad Diallo and Hannibal. Like them two are thriving at the minute. And I think they're two definitely who can probably even come back in pre-season. But we'll wait and see. We discussed Rashford off air. Obviously, like, look, Brian, he's banging in the goals at the minute. Like, he's nearly on 30 goals for United this season. It's a contrast to what last season was. But when you look at his performances, let's say, beside the goals at the minute, would you be kind of worried that we're getting a bit too reliant on him at the minute, considering he's scoring more or less nearly every game, but like, is there a case we could end up running him into the ground again like we did a couple of years ago?
I think there's that worry remains for a lot of players, because Erik Ten Hag's style of football or his style of management, he doesn't fancy rotation. It's one of the only things I saw from Ajax fans as he left. One of their main comments was, "I hope you don't like rotation this side," because he doesn't do it. And he doesn't. I mean, Bruno Fernandes is probably on the verge of death at the moment. Rashford not far behind him. We're kind of stuck, or Ten Hag is kind of stuck in a position where he doesn't have squad depth, which is a killer. It's potentially going to cost us as we move forward towards the end of the season. Any more injury to key players, we're in trouble. The depth of what's coming in versus what goes out, there's a big drop off. So, like Casemiro goes out, it's McTominay, potentially Sabitzer. Eriksen went out, big loss.
He's back after the break, thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, like Martial boils my piss and has done for years, and probably does for a lot of people. But Martial out, and we come in with Wout Weghorst, which says a lot. I know it was a marriage of convenience in January, but
yeah,
I don't know. I can't get on board with these people justifying the fact that Wout Weghorst is a fantastic addition to the team. He's not. He's shit. He can't score. He doesn't score. He hasn't scored. Stop telling me that this guy is unbelievable, because he's not. Marcus Rashford is breaking his bollocks down the left side to score a goal, but our striker can't. I mean, fair enough. It's only a 6-month stopgap, but like, I think we need 2 strikers in the summer, not 1. I think we need 2. Every team needs main striker, backup striker, or at least competition between the 2. We currently have none. Once Weghorst goes, who I don't even think is a striker, we're left with Martial, who we're thinking is probably going to go. It leaves us with 0 strikers, nothing. Harry Kane is linked. Everyone's on about this Osman and lad from Napoli. Like, both of those are going to cost massive money. Like, I'm not, again, I tweeted about it during the week, and I had a bit of over and back with a few people. I'm not saying no to Harry Kane. He scored again today. He scores week in, week out. He's Premiership proven. He's English. He'll settle into the team immediately. It's all down to Daniel Levy and how many spondulics he wants to try and extract out of us. You pick Harry Kane up for 70 million. He's younger than Casemiro. It's the same price tag. You're going to get probably 3 top seasons out of him, and he'll still play a very important role for 2 years after.
But even with that, Brian, you look at Harry Kane's playing style and how he's altered it in the last couple of years. He probably even has 5 years left at the top. And even I was saying this to Steve, Steve McGrath, he'd often come on the podcast, Tottenham fan. I was even saying to him, like, you look at how Wayne Rooney altered his game to kind of towards the toilet of his career, and how Kane drops deep into midfield. Like, I could even see, let's say, Kane's a striker for like maybe 3 or 4 years, and then after that, you may even see Kane drop in as a number 10 because of how he plays, to his style.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Kane will still give you 3 years guaranteed as the striker he is right now.
Yeah.
And like that, he'll start transitioning. He'll either start changing his game and stop. Like, I don't think you say he depends on his pace as such as a striker he is. He definitely uses what pace he has, but like, he can still be very, very effective in 3 years' time as either your rotation striker coming in, coming out, because we've so many games in the season. Like, you're talking the best part of 60 games a season. You need 2 strikers. There's no doubt about that. You get an injury to your main striker, you need someone coming in. Or if Kane is your main striker, you need someone behind him that can come in after him and do a job for us. So like, it's a massive point of contention in the summer who the Manchester United signs as a striker. Brings us back again to another topic. There's not that many strikers in global football at the moment.
The natural strikers, I think, at the moment, they're like, let's say, top class natural strikers. They're very few and far between.
Yeah, because the impetus has changed. Like football changed from 4-4-2. Go back to Fergie's time. We'd 4 strikers: Sheringham, Solskjaer, York, and Cole. 4 top strikers that would have played for any side. And now I don't know. They've changed from 4-4-2 to just like 4-3-2, 2-3-1 or 4-5-1 or whatever way you want to call it. Most teams are playing with 1 striker, potentially a backup striker with them. So you've gone from having hypothetically 4 strikers in your squad to 2.
Yeah.
Which globally has reduced how many strikers clubs have, which again, it reduces the market for people who are looking to buy a striker. So it's slim pickings out there. I mean, Osman looks the business at the moment overseas. Can Osman do it in England? Don't know. It's a £100 million question.
That's a £100 million question, like I said, Brian. I think the only thing, like, there's a lot of fans' concerns about Osimhen, and I think he's very good in Italy and he's playing good in Europe at the minute. But like Romelu Lukaku played very well, for Inter Milan, and then like he struggled back in the Prem. We've seen that twice already. So like,
the only thing about Lukaku is Lukaku's an arsehole, which doesn't help him.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like, even you look at the styles of playing. Look, Eric Ten Hag's system. I think Kane's a better fit. I think, look, Osimhen is a goal scorer, but I think Kane's an all-round better footballer, and I think that's what we need. Like, you look how Eric Ten Hag's Ajax team, like, you've seen, like, what's his name? I can't forget his name. He plays for Dortmund. Haller, Sebastian Haller, was the Ajax's striker, and then like other times then he played Dusan Tadic as a false 9. So like, he likes to have people who can bring players into play, who can be creative. Whereas like, you look at Osimhen, he's more of a gilt-edged kind of goal scorer. And like, when you look at it from that perspective,
Kane
more rounder rather than just a gilt-edged goal scorer in this team, in this system.
Like in an ideal world, we'd go out in the summer and buy both, but it's probably not going to happen. It'd be absolutely amazing if you could have both in the same squad. Osimhen as a younger player, learning off Kane, playing off of him, backing up each other. I don't know. It'd be just amazing to have a young striker coming in, and then Harry Kane leading the line. Your comment just came up there, and it was a player who was just about to get onto, Evan Ferguson.
I've been banging this drum for weeks.
Yeah, no. From patriotic pride, I'd absolutely love to have an Irish lad playing for United again.
Would you bring him in? Like, at the moment, he's probably going to be available for like maybe probably under, like, let's say 20 million at the minute. Would you maybe like
20 million euros? I'd sign him in the morning. Any player worth 10 games a season in today's market is worth 20 million. I mean, the market's gone so inflated with prices. You can get Evan Ferguson for 20 million. You're an idiot if you don't sign him. Simple as that.
Yeah. Like, and you look at his like availability. I think you look how well he's done in his like such short career. Like, he was playing at Bows at 15 years of age, playing League of Ireland, and the size of him, and he was scoring goals there. Obviously, funnily enough, he rejected Liverpool. Like, Brighton and Liverpool came in for him. Obviously, he's actually a United fan, and he rejected Liverpool. So, like, when you look at it from that perspective, I think like, he's an Irish lad, he's a United fan. He literally ticks a lot of boxes. But like, I think like as well, he's at an age where he can learn from strikers like Harry Kane as well at the club, and like, even for a perspective that like, you get Kane for like 2-3 years, then you have a Ferguson too come in. But like, you look at Man City at the minute, Brian, they have Haaland and Alvarez, 2 different types of strikers.
Yeah, totally different.
And you look at that, like, I think if let's say we brought in Kane and Evan Ferguson, they're, again, 2 different types of strikers, and then one's for now, one's for the future. And that's like, they're the types of signs Sir Alex used to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Julio, who made a comment there, nailed it.
Yeah.
If you can get Kane and Ferguson for 100 million in the summer, you'd absolutely snap their hands off.
Yeah.
No, that's not saying Evan Ferguson's going to be his top class striker, and there's obviously a massive question mark over the kid. But he's worth taking a punt on if you can get him at small money. Bring him in with a Kane and let him learn off him, and let him develop his game and learn attributes from Kane's style of football. You could possibly mould your next striker. You might not, but if it's a 20 million punt, I'm taking it, all day long.
Yeah, 100%. And Trevor says he's too raw, but like, again, it won't be a case where we'd be throwing him in straight away.
No, you're not signing him to start next Saturday. You're signing him to come in, sit on the bench, train with Harry Kane, who's the best English striker out there, and learn off him for a couple of seasons, and come in and out to the team now and again, see what he can do, and give him a chance to, as a striker in a couple of years' time. I wouldn't sign him and expect him to play straight away, but I'd bring him in and let him play his Europa Leagues. Well, hang on.
No, well.
Sorry, it's a force of habit from the last few years. I'd bring him in for your Carabaos and your cup games and that. Give him a couple of chances in the league and that. Just let him develop over time. Yeah, it's a punt you're taking.
Yeah, and look, it's for the price we could potentially get him for. Like Mark's saying, Brighton will hold out 50 million. No, they won't because he's Irish. I'm telling you now, I'm just saying it straight out. Like if Evan Ferguson had an English passport, his price will be inflated. But the fact he's an Irish talent, that won't happen.
The only place an Irish passport is worth more than an English passport is a passport control in the airport because you can fly. Other than that, nah, all day long. If he's English, his price goes through the ceiling.
Yeah, but the fact he's Irish, it won't get inflated. Yeah, we all know what happens with English tax, but we mentioned players potentially coming in, but someone who's come in, Brian, like he had no time to settle in with Sabitzer. He got thrown straight into the deep end and coming in on his loan deal, and he played barely any football this season before he came into United. What have you made of him coming in, and do you think like Casemiro's suspension can actually give him now an opportunity to kind of show Eric Ten Hag they should sign him permanently?
That's exactly what it is. I like Sabitzer. I like him. Yeah, I've got good time for him. I like his aggression. I like his passing style. I like his attitude on the pitch. He's probably a bit short of pace, to be fair. He's probably a bit on the sluggish side, but he makes up for it. He's a snappy tackler. He's a quick passer. Has a shot on him. If he's coming in at the right money again, I'm definitely taking him. But again, it's on him now that Casemiro's out for a while. This is his chance to really stake a claim for that transfer in the summer. I hope he does, because the alternatives are Fred McTominay. As much as I was a McTominay, it kills me. As much as I love this kid, and I do love him, I love the lad. I love his attitude. I love his effort. I love his desire. I have accepted the fact that his time is coming to an end, I think, very quickly, unless he can change something drastically. I don't see it happening. I can see him leaving in the summer, to be honest. Especially if we're bringing in better, not even Sabitzer, but if we're strengthening the midfield again. I mean, he's going down the pecking order, signing after signing. So for his own career, he probably needs to leave, and I don't think he's going to get much of a chance with us. Sabitzer, I think, can definitely come in and do a job. Probably has more in his armory than McTominay might have. I don't know if that's an unfair comment on Scott McTominay, but
I think on the ball, definitely. On the ball, you're definitely right.
Yeah, I like Sabitzer. No, I like him. If he's coming in at 15, 20, 25 million, and he can prove in the next couple of games, if he does come in, that he's up for the task. I mean, we're at the business end of the season, so these are the important games that if he can prove it in that, plus what he's given already, I'd be happy enough to sign him. Yeah, I think he's a good squad addition. He's not your week in, week out starting midfielder, but he's a good squad addition. So if he's happy to come in and play second fiddle, bring him on. Yeah.
Look, with the 5 subs role, like he's a shrewd signing, and I look at him from his time at Leipzig, and a couple of times we played him in Champions League. He looked like a very good technical player. Like he looked very good with the ball. I think we've seen that in kind of Joe
fits and bobs.
Bits and bobs this season. But like he's definitely a good option. I think, especially in games if we're going to have 60-70% possession of the ball, we're going to have most of the ball and we're trying to break teams down. He's definitely someone who can pick a pass, who can take shots from outside the box. He's from what I've seen when he was with Bayern and Leipzig, he's decent from a set piece as well. Like, so, like we need players like that. And I
think to be fair, Keane, I think he's looking to rejuvenate his career as such as well, because like Leipzig, he was very good. Went to Bayern, it's gone a bit stale for him there. Mentality wise for himself, he's probably looking at this as a chance of getting out of Bayern, reigniting his own career, getting it back on track, and becoming a more important player for a top side. So yeah, I think he'd be very much open to it. I mean, from what I've seen of him so far and the way he's talking and reacting to things, he looks very much at home there. He looks very comfortable. I think he's one that you could definitely see getting the permanent transfer, as long as he plays relatively well in the next few games and doesn't do anything absolutely idiotic. He should be.
Yeah, you have to give away a penalty now tomorrow now because you said that.
Yeah, 2 foot something in the box.
But yeah, like, look, I think he's definitely a player. Like, if you look at, let's say, I'd speak in a hypothetical sense here. Let's say you bring in Frankie de Jong or Jude Bellingham. Let's say there's touch wood here, like under new owners in the summer, right? Julio says it here. Sabitzer and Eriksson as backup centre midfielders. All of a sudden, our squad depth looks a lot better. Like if you Sabitzer and Christian Eriksen there behind, let's say, a Frankie de Jong or Bellingham, whichever one we bring in, or whoever, I dare to say we'll bring in a top class midfielder this summer, because I'd say it's definitely on on the agenda, but like look, he'd be a good option because especially like if Ten Hag wants us to play this possession-based football, which look what he did play at Ajax, you'd like to think Sabitzer probably fits that mold of that type of midfielder he'd wants. But again, like look, is he going to be a starting midfielder? Like I agree. I don't think so. I think Bruno, like Sabitzer said, like not give me Sabitzer, Julio says there, like Bruno Fernandes is going to start anyway. Like he's guaranteed to start most weeks.
This is the biggest thing that people forget when we're looking at signings and stuff. People get so zoned in on the starting 11. Starting 11 is only as good as what's behind it for the season. And that's the problem we're having a bit at the moment. Like it's all well and good saying we'll bring in this player to start every single week. When he's injured, you need someone to come off the bench that's somewhere near that level, at least in the same stratosphere as him. There's no point having an unbelievable starting 11 and a load of shit in the bench. So like we need to be making signings like that Sabitzers who can come in happy enough to play second fiddle, won't rock the boat, won't spoil the apple tart inside the dressing room because they're not playing week in, week out. People who are happy to be part of a squad, contribute what they can contribute during the season, realistic about their ambitions. You need backup, like you need players to come in because when we start losing a few players, we do get very weak very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And if we lose a couple of key players, I mean, you lose Varane, who's been doing all right to stay fit in fairness, but you lose Varane and Martinez there for 3 or 4 games. You're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. You know? We definitely need to get a centre half in. Like even look, we need to get a good centre half in because I think like look for like we're discussing like off air that like it's great that Varane's after retirement from France, which means we don't have to worry about him getting injured on international duty. But like look, at the end of the day, he is 30 now, 31. You're gonna like we'll get another couple of years out of him, but with his injury record, you'd like to think you'd have someone in there to deputise. Like I think for all the world, we wanted Axel Tuanzebe to be one of them players, like a year or two ago, but his injuries have killed him. Like,
well, realistically, in the summertime, I hope for his own career again. I hope Harry Maguire leaves.
Yeah,
his time with us is up. I think that's fairly obvious. His time is over. Ten Hag has handled it so well. I'm so impressed with it. He's so quietly brought the captain and our £80 million centre half out of the squad with no furore, no big fucking media stuff, no interviews like some people. Just nice and quietly dropped him out of the squad, kept him out of the squad, keeps him happy, gives him a game here and there. I'm sure has plenty of chats with him in the background, but like Harry Maguire for himself needs to do a Chris Smalling. Go to Italy where the game suits a slower centre half and be a very good centre half. Yeah, be a very good centre half in Italy because Chris Smalling was absolutely outstanding since he's left us. He's been brilliant in Italy because the game suits him. Maguire will be the very same. I think he should do the exact same thing. Head off to Italy, relax in the Italian sun, enjoy your life, and get away from the English media and our fan base plus fan base in England in general because you're going to get hammered every single week for everything you do. And once the fan base turns on you, very, very difficult to get him back.
Yeah, look, we see the abuse he gets on Twitter. Like, look, we all see it. We're all there. Like, look, at the end of the day, if we can manage to like get a decent fee, look, we're going to make a loss on him. That's just a fact. We're not going to get 80 million for him. But like, look, the fact he's in England and international, and look, he won a trophy. United, that still weighs up for something. I think. Like, look, Julio says that Maguire and Jose link up at Roma. Jose finally getting his man. Yeah, that'd be something.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I think that's where he goes. But like. He's going to go. Lindelof seems to be quite happy playing the second fiddle role again, which is fine. He's a good deputy to have coming in for a stock, but we definitely do need another centre half. Yeah, I mean, if you go through the side, we won't get into the De Gea issue tonight because we'll be here until Monday. But
we'll be here until tomorrow.
Yeah, so keeper, we probably need a keeper coming in, depending on your opinion, but we more than likely need a keeper coming in. Right back, I'm adamant we need a right back. I don't think either of the two we have are at the level of what we need. They both have their strengths, but they both have their weaknesses. I'd be looking at a right back. I think if you could combine Dallo and Wan-Bissaka, you'd have an absolutely brilliant right back. But unfortunately, two opposite sides of the coin. Left back, I'm happy. Centre half, we need someone. Midfield, we need someone. Right midfield bothers me. Sancho and Anthony have struggled. I'll probably get fucking hammered for saying Anthony struggled because everyone's obviously on the Anthony train, but he has struggled a bit. There's no point saying he hasn't.
He's had. I think he's been in and out of the team. He's had injuries, but when he's played, there's been times where you can see there's a player in there, but his decision making sometimes then lets him down.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually find Sancho and Anthony to be very similar in the sense that they both slow down counterattacks. They both stop. Neither of them go taking on their fullback at times, and the impetus is more turn back. Well, for Sancho's turn back and go inside. For Anthony, it's turn back and shoot. But they're very similar in a lot of ways, and neither of the two of them have lit it up on the wing. Now I know it's very, very, very early doors for Anthony to see. I'm not writing the kid off by any means, but you need to see a bit of spark, especially when he comes in with that price tag. People expect a lot. The price tag isn't obviously his fault, but it does set a sense of expectations on a fella. He's got loads of time in front of him to prove himself, and I'm confident he will. I'm sure he will, but at the moment he hasn't. So right midfield is a slight worry. Left midfield again. Rashford gets injured. You're sticking Sancho over there again. You haven't got a whole pile behind that. Do we need a left winger?
Palestri, the thing is, Palestri is very versatile. I think Palestri could be that player that if Rashford does get injured, you could
stick him up. Sorry, well, you've Garnacho again, but like Garnacho.
Yeah, Garnacho as well, yeah. Amad Diallo as well coming back right now.
Garnacho looks very good, but again, you can't pin your badge on a kid that young to be a starting player straight away. Give him another season and see how he goes. He's been absolutely amazing. I love the kid. I absolutely adore him. He's brilliant. But I just don't give him starting 11 every week status just yet. But not bad. Striker, we need two strikers. We need two strikers all day long. We need two strikers. So we've still a lot of work. It's mad. Every summer for the last 10 years, we're 4 short and we're there. We're 4 short and we're there.
Yeah.
We're still 4 short again with all the money that's been spent and all the players that have been brought in. The recruitment previous to Ten Hag has been absolutely dog shit for the most part. We've signed some ducks. I like Ten Hag's recruitment. I like his style of who he's bringing in. Malastia has impressed me. Low money, low risk signing. I like him. Very tenacious, little dogged left back. Started off well, had a bit of a blip, and came back well again. Sabitzer has been good. I like Sabitzer. Good signing. Casemiro has been amazing. Martin has been amazing. Anthony's been a bit hit and miss, but potential to be there. And Weghorst is epoxy loan until summer. So I like Ten Hag's style so far of what he's brought in.
Yeah, he's brought in. Look, I like the profile of player in. He there's no. What was someone quoted Richard Arnold with this? They said they don't want any bollocks in the club. In terms of they don't want any dickheads.
Massively important. We've only got rid of a few. One is over in Forest after giving a fucking TalkSport interview, and one's in Forest doing TikToks. Like you need that's the player you need out of the squad. How did we ever expect harmony and success in a squad where you've got Paul Pogba pissing off at Anfield after a few minutes because he didn't fancy it? Lingard too fucking interested in clothing ranges and TikToks. Henderson thinking he was fucking Lev Yashin. We've got so many bad apples in that squad for the last few years. It has to be toxic inside the dressing room. Like you can see the ones that were gotten rid of straight away. There was gone. There was obviously clear thought behind who leaves and when they leave straight away. They're the ones you need to get out. And I like the fact you're dead right. And we're signing people of the right caliber, mentality and personality wise, which is massively important for us. If we can keep that, there looks to be a great bond in the squad at the moment. There looks to be a great camaraderie between the players. They're very much together. You keep that going. That gives you a couple extra points a season. That kind of a spirit, the team spirit, fighting for each other and fighting for the badge. So, very, very important that the profile of player we brings in is the right player, John.
Yeah, definitely. Looking, especially in this system where it's hard working and you need to be switched on. Look at the type of player we bring in is very important. You see a lot of people talk these days about it's all about technical ability. It's not really. You look at the teams and look at the league titles we won with players like Jason Park, Darren Fletcher, John O'Shea in the team. You need players like that with personality, fight, determination, and work hard. You need players like that in the team. And look, I think that's what Ten Hag's doing. He's bringing in players who have quality, but they also have the right mentality. That they have. I hate to quote people, but they have that kind of dogged mentality. Do you know what I mean?
You've convinced me. Keeps got me coming. Do not sell him, Eric. Keep him. That's what we need. He's our current Jason Park, Darren Fletcher. Keep him. Don't fucking sell him.
Nah. Look, to be fair, Newcastle, I think Eddie Howe's looking at Minty. So, look, if we can con Newcastle for 40 million for him with their new owners, with their money, with their cash, I take it right now because it'd help us with FFP and stuff in the summer. But Adam says points with a question mark. I think that might be towards you, Brian.
I'll be up in half. I'll be up there in half an hour. Don't worry. Have one ready.
Brian, in respect to, obviously, we talked about players fighting for each other, players working hard. Obviously, look, we've been a lot better this season compared to previous seasons. We had trouble off and on the pitch last season, and it wasn't great at all. But this season, Ten Hag's really revitalised us. And look, obviously, we won the Carabao Cup. We're third in the Premier League. We're still third in the Premier League at the minute. I had to think about the results in my head there for today. And obviously, we're in to 2 other quarterfinals. Players are knackered. They've really ran themselves into the ground. And look, I'm actually happy. I'm happy to say that because it's a contrast to what we've seen last year. Do you think this current international break is coming at a good time, considering, look, they're still going to be playing football, but I don't think to the intensity that they've played it in the last kind of 6 months.
You've just said something that struck a chord with me. The effort that players are putting in this season, how knackered they are after the games they've played. It is such a stark contrast to what we've seen for the last few years. I mean, we've gone through a couple of seasons where there was times you didn't think players in the team broke a sweat. They didn't get their shorts dirty, that's for sure. None of them had the white line on their boots. It's very refreshing. It's very refreshing for people going to games. Like, look, I go to a lot of games myself. It's refreshing for me to go to games and know that I'm going to watch a side that actually gives a shit for a change. Yeah. Because there was a long period there where there was times where you just questioned Brighton away. Jesus Christ, Brighton away when they done us. You're like, I was standing on the ground looking at these boys going, every last one of you are here today collecting a paycheck. That's all you're doing. You're just collecting the wages and going home. You don't give a shit. You couldn't care less if we travelled over here for the game. You couldn't care less about the club. All you're doing is going through emotions. This season, that's one of the big changes. You see them working, like they're working their bollocks off. I love it. I love the fact that they're killing themselves, but they do need a break. The international break is coming at a great time. I think mentally they're all a bit burnt out. Physically they're fucked. They're dead in their feet. They've been dead in their feet for the last 5 or 6 games. You can see it. Ten Hag doesn't help them by not rotating. At the same time, does he have much rotation options on the bench?
He does have a nice really look at the quality from the first team down to
your drop off is massive. So it's a kind of it's a multitude of different things. Lack of squad depth causes lack of rotation. Managers doesn't like rotation anyway. We're also competing on 4 different fronts, which is something we haven't been doing for a while. So the games are coming thick and fast. My marriage is in question over the whole lot of it, of course. But if Eric Ten Hag doesn't stop winning games, I'm telling you, I'll miss my children growing up. Yeah, it's coming at a great time. They need a rest. They need a break. They need to sit back, reset. Hopefully, a couple come back from injury, get a bit of training in, get a bit of energy back in the tank again. I mean, I guarantee you, Marcus Rashford could do with a break. Bruno Fernandes could do with a break. Them boys must be feeling it every single day in training because they're killing themselves week in, week out. It's coming at a great time. I hope none of them play. You know me long enough to know that I can't stand international football, so I hope every single one of them retire from international football, denounce their nationality, and never again play for any international team. All I care about is them playing for us. Varane leaving it was brilliant for us. If we can get through the international break, no injuries, hopefully they play as little time as possible as is necessary for their international.
Southgate continues to do what he normally does with Rashford and bench him. Like he normally does do that. He plays like Raheem Sterling ahead of him. So hopefully
he probably will. Yeah, he'll probably bench him again. But I have a sneaky feeling Gareth Southgate has been sitting down at home since the World Cup going. Why the fuck did I not give Rashford more time? What was I thinking? Like, am I absolutely dead in the head to think that I shouldn't have played him more? It doesn't bother me one way or the other whether England win a World Cup or European Championships, but it was insanity. Like, the lad was on fire. He was playing very, very well. He was in form. You play him, but then again, look at
top score at the World Cup as well. That's mad as well. Like,
it was insane. But like again, you look at Southgate's squad. We're breaking off international football for a second, but you look at Southgate's squad that he's after announcing. The man is a sausage. He's an absolute sausage in the head. Calvin Phillips has played 40 or 50 minutes of first-team football for City, which was always a terrible signing and a terrible transfer for that lad to ever make. It was never going to work out. He was never going to make the team there. He's a lovely footballer. He's a good footballer. City wasn't the club for him. Signs on, he's played less than 60 minutes all season, but he's now made the England squad. Somebody on some planet explain to me how that makes sense in football. There must be English footballers in the Premier League who play week in, week out, looking at that going, how is it possible I haven't even been in the discussion and this fella's got onto it? Similar to the Rashford situation.
Phillips got called up for England, right? James Ward-Prowse didn't.
Yeah. Did James Ward-Prowse not stick one to see? Was it 93rd minute? Did he score today?
Yeah. He scored a penalty, against Spurs.
James Ward-Prowse, a fantastic footballer. Offers absolutely a load of options to a football team. Calvin Phillips hasn't played football all season and makes the team. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Rashford, as much as he's burning the league up all season, if Southgate does something silly and doesn't play him. I hope so. Gareth, if you're listening, if you tune into the Sports Armchair, do not play Marcus Rashford. Play Phil Foden or whoever you want to play. Play him to death.
Play Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Bukayo Saka, all them lads, play all them before you play Rashford. But yeah, look, it's a welcome break, I think, when you look in all the respects of De Gea doesn't play for Spain, so he'll still be there. Dalot, he's not an automatic starter for Portugal. João Cancelo will be playing. Guerrero will probably start on the left for Portugal. Then, like, you look at Wan-Bissaka, he won't be there. Martinez, he doesn't start for Argentina either. So, like, when you look at the couple of players who are vital to our team, Bruno will play every minute for Portugal because he's like they're probably their best player. Like Casemiro will play, but he's suspended, so he's kind of exempt, really. When you look at the international break, Anthony doesn't start for Brazil. Weghorst, he doesn't start for. I know you don't like him, but he doesn't start for Holland. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, he doesn't start for Holland. How the fuck would Weghorst start for Holland? He shouldn't be starting for Man United. Get it? Drive on quick before I lose my head.
Yeah, 100%. But like, look, the point I was making is that our players who are actually gone out on international break, not many of them actually start for their country. So, like,
is that a good sign or a bad sign? Actually, no, that's another topic to talk about. Is it a good sign or a bad sign that all our international footballers, not all of them, but a lot of them, aren't actually playing international football for their country? What does that
tell you? Down to a couple of things, because you look at Otamendi, like Martinez is a better centre half than Otamendi, but Otamendi was kind of more experienced at international level, and that's probably why he played ahead of Martinez in the World Cup.
I think he played like 36 games in a row or something for Argentina, but coming into it, and had been quite instrumental from. I know, again, I'm not certain. I'm thinking back to that conversation at that time. I think they were justifying Otamendi that he'd been quite instrumental for Argentina, and he played however many games in a row. So look,
and like Anthony's up against Vinicius Jr. as well at Brazil, like, do you know what I mean? So like, and Rodrigo. So like, look, you look at them; they're both banging players for Real Madrid.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's like, look, at the end of the day, I think you can look at it in two ways. It's good and it's bad. But again, Gareth Southgate's not England manager. Let's say, for all intents and purposes, Pochettino is. Let's say he starts Rashford. But like, we'll move on, obviously, because I know we're caught in time as well. But Fulham tomorrow in the FA Cup, Brian. Obviously, look, we're potentially on the road to maybe completing the cup treble this season. Potentially, obviously, in 2 quarterfinals. Fulham have been a surprise package in the Premier League this season. Marco Silva kind of, I suppose, redeemed his reputation after, I suppose, getting hastily sacked by Everton a couple of years ago. We're coming up against one of our former players who's actually been decent for Fulham this year, and people might say he found his level in Andreas Pereira. What do you make of tomorrow's game so far? And I suppose we spoke about Ten Hag not rotating many players in many positions, but do you think Ten Hag is going to go with his strongest 11 tomorrow? Obviously, minus Casemiro. And do you think is this game a potential banana skin, considering, like, look how well we've been playing, but the fact we've been playing every couple of days, and Fulham are actually doing quite well domestically?
I think because we've the international break coming up, he'll go absolutely hammer and tongs with a full strength team. I don't think he's too worried about having another game in a few days' time. So, being a cup competition, you don't get 2 bites of the cherry. It's a banana skin for sure. Yeah, Fulham they're no slouches. They've been playing very, very well, probably above their station this season, to be fair to them. But they're a nice side, playing good football. It's a tough one. I'd expect us to beat them, but given the fact of the amount of games we've gone through and how tired the side is, it's definitely a dodgy one. The romance of the FA Cup always shows up a few dodgy results too. It's a tough one, yeah. It's a tough one. I don't expect to walk over them by any means. I do expect a full strength team. I do expect us to go through. I have my flights booked for Wembley for the semi-final, so I'm definitely expecting us to go through. But it's a very, very dodgy game. It's a very, very dodgy game. I'd be very careful about this game. It's one, when the draw was made, I looked at them and went, yeah, not sure about that one now. It's down to Ten Hag and what he goes with, but again, because he doesn't rotate much, the fact we don't have any games coming up for a while, I think he's going to go balls out. We're still missing a few players. We're still kind of hit and miss in the fact that we're still not a fully formed side. I think we're punching above our weight ourselves this season. We're definitely ahead of the curve on what our rebuild was going to be. So it's a tough game. I expect us to go through. I expect us to be full strength. That'll be my answer for that one.
Yeah, I think we will go full strength. And like I said, with the international break coming up, and like we also discussed a second ago, not many players start for their countries. I expect them to go well. And the fact Julio said this now has definitely had me shit myself.
Julio, you've had some great comments all night, and now you've after dropping this one. You're jinxing us. More Jesus Christ. If Mitrovic sticks one tomorrow, Julio, I'm calling round.
Yeah, I'll drop you Julio's Twitter handle after this. He'll be blocked tomorrow. But look, on that, Brian, we're going to wrap it up there. But before we do, there's one question in the comments that I've purposely not brought up. It's from Dale O'Donnell. I'm going to scroll back up here. Dale says, from Stretty News says, where does one recommend for a spot of shopping in Limerick?
Spot of shopping in Limerick. I don't actually think many of the outlets in Limerick cater for the smaller man. They don't really do XXS sizing, but you could probably chance Pennies. Pennies might have something in your size, Dale. Be a good shot. If you fancy spending a bit of cash, head into Brown Thomas, but the kids section will be more your sizing, I'd say.
Yeah. Stop.
Mothercare closed down, Dale. Sorry, so you're in big trouble. Mothercare's gone, yeah.
And Julio also says he's on a roll. He predicted Sevilla draw. Actually, Brian, Sevilla, another Spanish team. It's rigged. We're going to win the Copa del Rey at the end of the season.
We were in the airport. We were in Faro Airport heading back. A bunch of us. Everybody was worse for wear. Probably one as bad as the next. We were watching the draw on one of the boys' phones, and every one of us looked and went, "I guarantee it's Sevilla. I guarantee you we're coming back to Spain again." And by the time we boarded the plane, Sevilla was drawn. Actually, we were on the shuttle bus from Faro Airport onto the plane. On the shuttle bus, the draw was made. There must have been a hell of a lot of Reds on the bus because the bus started rocking, fellas shouting and screaming, going, "Oh, fuck off," collectively. And by the time we sat into our seat, we all had flights booked to go back over again. So, yeah. It's the joys of it. I would have liked something different, but it's after giving us a very, very tough run to the final, I think. I know Sevilla aren't the informed team at the moment. We've had our battles with them over the years. They're still a sticky side. You can't write them off. I know they're not at the top of their game at the moment this season, but beat them, then we've got a potential visit to Lisbon or Turin.
It's either Bruno reunited with Sporting or we're reunited with Paul Pogba and Angel Di Maria. Pick your poison. So it's
I pick Lisbon mostly because the flights are cheaper, the hotels are cheaper, and it's a cracking city. But
I'm already heading there in the summer. But I said to Amy there last night, I was like, "Do you know what?" I was like, "We're heading there in July for my birthday." But I was like, if we get there, we're gonna have to change the dates on the hotel and that. It's like
100%. Saying that, I still wouldn't mind going to Juve and Lissandro Martinez 2-foot and Paul Pogba into next week. So it's a tough one. Either side is going to be very, very hard to get past. I didn't expect Sporting to knock out Arsenal, to be fair, but we've got a tough route to the final. I think it'll take a lot for us to win this Europa League. I think we're still favourites. We're still favourites at the bookies.
We weren't. I backed us 8-1 in January, and when.
I think we were in this round.
Yeah, we were going into this round. I say we probably still are.
With Arsenal, we probably still are. I still fancy us. Don't get me wrong. It's not like we've played Barcelona. We've had a couple of tough games already, and our route to the final is quite tough. But there's a couple of banana skins there ahead of us as well. But hopefully we'll get through Sevilla. Hopefully we'll have another little European away adventure in either Lisbon or Turin, and we'll head off to Hungary for a party.
Yeah, but what did you call me there a couple of months ago with my hotel? You called me a presidential bastard with the hotel I'm staying in.
Yeah, I have no memory of that. I'm not abusive ever.
Never. By the way, United are 11-8 to win it, but so we're kind of odds on. But on that, Brian, before I leave you go, score prediction for tomorrow if you have any.
Oh, you bastard. Man United 2, Fulham 1. The one for Fulham being an absolute worldie into the top bench from Andreas pre-season Pirlo Pereira.
Oh.
I know he's going to do it. Wout Weghorst to score one off his arse, and Marcus Rashford to stick one in the top corner.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford's score prediction is these days. Anytime I get someone to give me a prediction, it's inevitable. Everyone goes Rashford these days. And look, if he breaks 30 goals, this season at club level would be
brilliant. Yeah,
if you win the Europa League.
Luke Shaw was your banker for a yellow card and a bet builder for the last 3 or 4 years. It's now Marcus Rashford score anytime, so that tells you where he's come from where he was.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, again, if we win the FA Cup, let's say hypothetically win the Europa League, finish top 4, player of the season probably could be under wraps now. We could say Haaland maybe, but
if we finish top 4 and win one more cup competition, for a first season for Ten Hag, it's been absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. I would say phenomenal. From what he walked into and what the turmoil that we were in, the mess we were in, the shit we've gone through for the last how many years. All I expected from him, I know people have this top red mentality where they go, we should win the league every year. Bollocks. No team's entitled to win the league every year. No team's entitled to success. Simple as that. Doesn't matter who you are. You have to earn it. We were nowhere near it. We've been off the pace for years. Expectations for Ten Hag coming in, get us back in the Champions League, get us back into the mix, try straighten the side out, try weed out the couple of bad apples in the side. That was my minimum expectations for the season. Just try to put us back on an even kilter. Just get us enjoying football again. Get us going to matches, enjoying it, walking away from the ground happy. Not the dog shit we've been watching for how long. He's absolutely surpassed that by a million miles. He's way ahead of schedule. He's overachieving, in my opinion, with what he's doing with the squad and the squad depth that he has. If he can stick another trophy into the fucking cupboard this season and finish top 4, absolutely phenomenal. What a start to his career to build on.
Definitely, you look at the first 2 games, and then everything was happening with the ownership. Then
I walked out with those first 2 games, and I just looked up at the sky and went, "You can't be fucking serious!" Like this
again.
Like, nah, it can't be happening again. But luckily, we turned it around.
He says Limerick mentality in the GAA also. We're not. I have a Limerick man right beside me now, so don't be talking shit about Limerick there now.
Trevor, Limerick aren't entitled to it. They're just expected.
Yeah, they're expected. Hopefully, tip to them this year. But look, we're not going to talk about GAA. We're not going to talk about GAA here in the podcast here. But we're going to wrap it up there, Brian. Thanks very much for coming on. And I'm glad I've pestered you this long to come on. It's been great conversation, great comments tonight coming in as well. And look, it was a good chat. So thanks for coming on. And make sure as well, guys, I have the link for Stretty News in the video link description as well. So do check out StrettyCast as well. Brian's on there with Dale and Sean Connolly as well. So do check that out. And also as well, look, we'll do a review podcast probably tomorrow evening at some stage to talk about the Fulham game as well and kind of where we go from there. But look, thanks very much, Brian, for coming on. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening in. And look, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks a million, Keane. Cheers for having me.